pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Well, thank you. I know it's still a chilly night out. Going down to 7, I hear.
Yeah, I'm not streaming.
That's what I heard.
It's going to interfere with yours.
Come on, Al Gore's always right, Dan. Stop arguing with Al.
I got to back out of this thing and restart.
But we have a good night going. We do have a guest speaker. He's not here yet, but it's Freeholder Curley. When he comes, obviously, we'll give him the speaker. Steve, our treasurer, is out today, but he did give me information. We have a very nice balance, thanks to your generosity, of $878.47. So thank you all. We have we did give a check out for $30 of materials, meter materials. Our insurance is paid. Not Obamacare insurance, our insurance. And our New Jersey registration, not-for-profit fee is due this February. How much is that, Dan?
I think it's $70.
$70, I think we can afford it. So that's our treasurer's report for this month, and I'm sticking to it. All right. Lots happening, huh, folks?
Maybe.
Lots happening. So, again, this is always your meeting. Whenever you want to talk about something, just raise your hand. We'll be talking. But Jason's got a lot to tell us, so Jason, come on up.
Thank you very much. First and foremost, I'd like to wish a very happy birthday to our President Ronald Reagan. For every baseball fan, it's also Babe Ruth's birthday.
Actually, Jason, you stole my thunder. We were going to sing. We are going to sing "Happy Birthday" to Ronald.
All right. So events that are coming up, as everybody knows, we have the St. Patrick's Day Parade in Belmar that we've done every year. That's going to be this Sunday, March 2nd, for 2014. It's going to be a 12:30 start time. What we're looking to do, if anybody wants to meet up early like we did last year, meet at the Belmar Marina around 9:30 or 10 a.m. Just hang out, get a parking spot so you don't have to drive around, look for one anywhere around town. And then we're planning on being online, ready to go for the parade sometime around 11 o'clock. So again, that's the 2nd of March, that's a Sunday. Meet at the Marina at 9:30, 10-ish. Plan to be online sometime around 11 o'clock to get ready. We're going to be handing out the flags like we did last year. We had a real good reaction to the crowds for handing out the flags. So we'll be putting labels on and getting those all ready to go. The bowling nights that I talked about in the last meeting, they're going to be on the 3rd Thursday of every month. It's very informal. It's going to be at the Howell Lanes in Route 9 in Howell, New Jersey. If anybody's familiar with that area. 6:30, just come to the bowling alley. We're going to be there. We have negotiated a special with them. It's going to be $3 per person per game, and they're going to allow us. They're going to extend a special for renting shoes if you need them, and those are going to be $3 as well. So again, it's the 3rd Thursdays of every month for the bowling nights in Howell Lanes in Howell, New Jersey. So far, that's what we have coming up. Any questions so far on those two events?
If they want to bring friends and family, let them bring friends and family too.
This is what?
Bowling.
Yeah, if you have friends and family you want to bring bowling, by all means. And the parade. It'll be a fun time. So that's what we have confirmed so far. Upcoming events for the spring and summer, we have the Jackson Memorial Day Parade. We're going to be putting that together in the next few months. Stay tuned for more details. I'll have more information in the next either next month's meeting or following month. Going to look into see if there's any 4th of July parades. 4th of July, of course, for everybody, even us included, is very busy with barbecues and family gatherings. But we'll see what they have out and see what kind of interest we can get, and we'll get some dates and locations out to you and see what we can figure out. A couple other events I wanted to do for the summer. Again, the Lakewood Blue Claws. We had a pretty good turnout last summer for that.
A lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. We're going to do that again. We're probably not going to do the table material. We're just going to probably get a group tickets. Just everybody sit together. Everybody wear their shirts. Who has shirts, just to again kind of get our word, get our name out there. Show everybody what a solid group we are. Another event that we can do during the spring and summer is a company called Shortflix. What they do is they put on movies in public parks and beaches. They have a very large inflatable movie screen. It's a really fun night. I think we had 1 or 2 people here that came last year. Again, you bring a cooler of sandwiches, snacks, sodas. I'm not sure about beer or alcohol, but we can certainly look into that. But again, that's another thing that's going to be free of charge. I'll put some dates out there and put some whatever's playing. Anybody that wants to come, just come. It's not going to be organized. It's just everybody that wants to come will go. Monmouth Park. Anybody here who has any interest in horse racing or just wants to get together and hopefully win some money. We'll put some dates out to kind of just meet up as a group as well. Again, nothing's really organized, just to everybody show up with their shirts and pocket full of business cards and see how many people we can talk to.
Oh, that's right.
Finally, for the fall, for September 11th, everybody knows every year the World Trade Center site puts up the Tower of Lights. What a lot of people do and what Robert and I have done last year is go to Liberty State Park, right along the Hudson River. You can see the lights. There's a large number of people that show up with their cameras, just show up with bikes, just to drive around the park and just hang out. Again, another great place to kind of meet up, wear our shirts, talk to people, hand out some business cards, and again, and most importantly, just honor a very solemn event in our history. So other than that, that's pretty much what we have so far on tap. One other item I'm going to try and put together is a day of shooting at one of the local shooting ranges, probably at Brick Armory. So I'm going to get some more information on that as that comes. But again, just keep an eye out on your email, keep an eye out on Facebook, and for the more announcements of these events. Steve, you can do the announcement. So that's about it. Any other questions on the events?
Yes. Where is Brick going?
It's in Brick, New Jersey.
I live there.
It's in the Lakewood.
Once I put it together, we'll get all the information and directions and so on.
Tell her it's by the airport. By the airport.
Jason, once again, thank you. Jason really works hard at these activities. Bob, I'm going to have to spank you later. Okay. Jason did steal my thunder. Okay. I was going to, thanks to Bill. Bill generously is donating these 2 videos, Gods and Generals and Gettysburg. But the obvious question is, what is today? President, the best president I've ever had, Ronald Reagan.
Absolutely.
But what year is it? Raise your hand, don't yell it out.
What year?
What year is his birth? What year would he be celebrating today?
103.
103.
Ooh.
1909.
Okay, if you could answer one more question, you win these tonight. How many days until springtime? Not enough.
Too many.
Okay. Nobody? Nobody? Nobody?
I think it's 46.
41. But who said 44?
I did.
Okay. You're out of it, Dan. Joan, you win these. Now here's the deal, Joan. You watch them, and then you bring them in next month, and somebody else can win them. But thank you, Bill. This is very generous of you.
And Joan's got a big Facebook presence. She's out there. Facebook warrior.
Before you sit down, Joan, why don't we all, Joan, you could lead us in a happy birthday song to President Reagan. So here we go. Come on up, huh?
Oh, see ya.
Do you think he's gonna hear us?
Yes, I do. I know where he's at. Go ahead.
Okay, happy birthday to Ronnie.
Yes. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear President Ronald Reagan. Happy birthday to you. And please send somebody like you. Yes. Okay. One item that you will all be interested in hearing, Steve, you know, education, Steve, he's so articulate. He really, for me, he educates me every month. He has something going on at the Jackson Library, February 13th, and it's the Real Black History. What time does that start? 6:30?
6:30.
6:30, Jackson Library. I hope to be there. February 13th. We will be sending out an email, blasting out an email. You hear Steve every month. He's great at educating us. So hopefully you'll be there.
What day is it?
February 13th. Yeah. Okay.
Tell them you can bring light snacks and drinks and everything that's pretty.
So light snacks, drinks, you know, just come, be comfy, wear your pajamas, you know.
Like pajama
Now
boy.
you're gonna thank you.
Wear your onesie.
One more thing, because we really are trying to get the tea party out there, I made a couple of phone calls regarding the Ocean Monmouth County Fairs. So as soon as I get some information, yep, Robert?
I checked on that for about 3 years ago.
Okay.
There's a lot of paperwork to fill out on that. The Monmouth County Fair is the last week of July. It's usually a sauna or severe thunderstorms. It's always getting rained out. I would say 86 that event. It's really a terrible weekend every time they have it. Yeah.
But how's the turnout?
Turnout's a lot, but what good is it if you make plans and have people come there and you got 3 out of the 4 days that are rained out? And that's happened for the past couple of summers like that.
Well, you know what? I'm still going to toss it out there. We'll make a decision as we get close to it. But we still have the Ocean County Fair, too, we could look into. Which, I've made phone calls. As soon as I get the details, we'll throw it out to the club. Even if you go and just wear your T-shirts. We just want to get our name out there. Dan, did I see our guest walking?
Yes, you did.
Great. Well, first I'm going to have Dan come up and do his thing, and then he can introduce our guests.
I'm very short, obviously. I will be very short. Still very short.
Here's Danny.
Thank you, Joellen. I don't have a real whole lot to say this month, which is
Yay!
I am going to say
unusual. I did mention that I was a delegate for the Convention of the States. I said that back in December. I missed January's meeting. I had to work overtime. I was stuck up in Piscataway. Piscataway, Plainfield.
Aren't you union?
I am a union. I'm a union guy. Whatever. Actually, a union guy wearing his little flag pin, a little yellow flag pin on his hat. Get a lot of looks. But hey, you gotta be brave. Anyhow, there seems to be a debate about the Convention of the States, whether it's good or bad. Some people seem to think it's going to be, a runaway convention. Do we need more amendments to enforce the amendments we have, or shouldn't we just follow the Constitution as it is? There's actually a debate going on tonight up in the Middlesex Tea Party's having a debate on this. and we'll be, you know, I want to see the Titans fight it out. Mark Levin and those guys who were for it, and debate the people that are against it, so I can make a decision whether I'm going to stick with it or not. Those guys I trust quite a bit, so I find it hard to believe that it's a bad idea. But I did read quite an extensive blog posting, and you know, it was a short book about the reasons against it. So it gave me pause, and that's what I'm doing. I'm pausing, and I'm going to educate myself a little further before I continue. That's where we stand on that. I did happen to notice, I went on their site yesterday, they did not have New Jersey represented. I went on there again today, and it's filled in like it is represented. So I'm going to try to contact the new representative, because Bill Haney resigned from the effort. And
Why?
because he read the same blog post that I read, and he says this is a bad idea. So he resigned for other reasons. He's involved with a couple other projects that hopefully I'll be able to bring to light next month. So that's the serious stuff. One event Jason missed because I didn't tell him about it. We have a couple of ham radio operators in the room now. Me being one.
Big deal.
Robert Bailey, Joe Tosniak. There's 3 ham radio operators. I know Dwight Kehoe with the T-Path. He's a ham now. And every year, at the last weekend in June, there's something called Field Day. It's emergency preparedness communication drill. It's nationwide. It also includes all of Canada. And it's a 24-hour operation, and it's basically a contest to see who can do well. I was in a club several years ago, 13 years ago. It's been a while, and we took 35th in the nation. So it can be done. There's various classifications: high wattage, low wattage. You know, how many radios, so on and so forth. And I think that I would like to try to do that again this year with some of the newer hams, and maybe have the Tea Party support us, help set up antennas or whatnot, provide some food. It's a fun time, and I saw a place down in Shark River today that has bathrooms. It's very important. An open field, and it's by saltwater, which, if you're a radio operator, saltwater gives you quite a bounce for your signal. And I'm going to look into that as a possible site for us to operate. So that's what we're doing. That's really all I have to say. I want to recommend a book also. It's called The Blueprint: How the Democrats Flipped Colorado. I would highly recommend getting that short little pamphlet and reading it over this month. And maybe we can talk about it next month. So that said, shall I introduce our guest?
Actually, before you introduce our guest, I want to introduce, and then we'll introduce your guest. We have some new members tonight, which is always great. Great. So, Marlene, would you stand up? And who else? We have some old members who have decided to come back. Marlene, thank you. I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Frank.
Frank, hello?
Hey, Frank.
Okay. And Janet, would you stand up? And Janet, I'm going to do this. It's going to be a little embarrassing for you, but first time here, and Janet brought a whole load of supplies. Janet, actually, I want you to come up and tell everybody your adventure.
I have laryngitis.
Okay. Janet wanted to get supplies. She got our email because she belongs to Mac's class. And she went to Costco, not a member of Costco, but told Costco what she wanted to do. And what did they give you, Janet?
I went for the purpose of Nutella. Is that how you pronounce it?
Nutella.
And some jerky and just some jellies. Because I know that was going to be the fill-in, and I'm not a member, but I knew by suggestion. The other dynamic support was when I happened to have an office visit at a dermatologist in Kitten Falls, Glenn Kozlansky. And I had asked him what sunscreen is the best for Afghanistan, because we plan to send them to the troops. But he said, he gave it to me, but he said it just so happens that we had a delivery of 3 samples, so he gave them all of them. Oh, nice. But the thanks goes to him, and somewhere along the line, a recognition.
What location was that?
It's in Tinton Falls, behind
The Costco and Tin Falls.
And this dermatologist.
Oh, okay.
But it doesn't end there. Again, this is Janet's first visit to our meeting. She gave a very generous donation for this endeavor. So Janet, thank you very much.
One more.
Thank you.
One more.
Oh, one more.
What I wanted to do is, because I gave some peanut butter, but that gets pretty tiring eating it, so I wanted to do the jelly with it. Well, I thought about these individual packages, but I couldn't get them at Costco, so I went into the American Diner in 35 and just asked for the purpose of, and they were gracious and gave me about 50. They would have given $2.50, but I thought, you know. So I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention, because it really doesn't take much. These people just immediately stepped up to the plate, and so it was fun.
Thank you. John, we're going to introduce our guest. Can we come back to you after our guest speaks?
No, we have 2 people.
Oh, 2 new people?
Oh,
go ahead.
Brandon.
I'm sorry?
Corinne and Brandon.
Hello, Corinne and Brandon. Welcome. And guess what, folks? They look like youths. Yes. Who?
Dan Arrabito, Joe's father.
Oh, okay. Joe's father. Joe, where are you? Introduce your father.
Dan Arrabito.
Okay. Thank you, Dan. You look too young to be Joe's father.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, I'd like to introduce Freeholder Curley. Mr. Curley has a great business background, is the author of a 23-point program to reduce spending in Monmouth County. In addition to that, he helped expose some of the corruption that was in Brookdale College. And I'd like to give a nice warm welcome to John Curley, Freeholder. Great guy. Hey, John.
Dan, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It's always a pleasure to be in your company. And I guess we're back on camera. It's always a pleasure to be here, and I wish you a happy new year, and I am certainly elated to wish Ronald Reagan a happy birthday, because to me, he's still alive. And he is in our spirit each and every day. If you come into my office, there are several pictures of Reagan. And my nephew, who is now serving in my role in our family automobile business, Jim Curley, is named his daughter, their first child, Reagan.
Oh, wow.
And I said, how do you spell that? And he goes, just like the president. So we're a Reagan family, there's no doubt about that. Folks, we as Americans have had one hell of a time. In my opinion, and I'm 60 years old, it's been the worst time I've seen in my lifetime. And it's very disconcerting, it's extremely concerning to all of us who were brought up understanding what America was all about. And America was sacrifice. And America was hard work. And America was independence, and that was the independence of the individual to take care of himself or herself. America is a constitution, although there are plenty of people that like to play with our constitution. And our constitution is just fine the way it was written. Like yourselves, I believe, in an interpretation of the Constitution, not changing it. Because when you change that DNA, you destroy the being. And that is a working document that protects our freedoms and our liberties. And it brings forth what this nation is all about. Folks, we've had a tough time in the automobile business. The economy sucks. And it's a constant battle, and pardon my vernacular, I can't think of anything more articulately to say. But we're alive and we're functioning, and we're doing okay considering the circumstance. The President talks about taking care of Americans with Obamacare. Obamacare, as you well know, is literally destroying this country, and it's on the verge of collapse. And I'm an insulin-dependent diabetic. I went 2 weeks ago to my endocrinologist, and he told me, John, I don't know how, if Obamacare continues, that my patients, including yourself, are going to be able to take care of themselves. Because he gives me the tools, and I take my insulin injections per day. I test my blood sugars 10 times per day. I have been blind from diabetes 21 years ago, and I almost lost both feet. And thank God I'm back in condition today and still going.
Yeah.
But as he told me, the doctor told me, that Obamacare, as we have seen, has taken the power out of ourselves and our doctors and given it to the federal government. And that is obviously no place to have decisions made about our well-being, about our present and our future. We've seen the strain in our automobile and truck business because we decided to make sure that all of our employees received health care, health benefits. That, in my opinion, is the American way. And we had the opportunity to option out. That option could have been not to give any health benefits at all and pay the fine, which quite frankly was less expensive. Or to go ahead and make our employees part-time employees, which cuts down on productivity. And each and every one of us know that when you cut down on productivity, the gross national product drops. So we decided, my brother and I sat down and decided to make sure that these individuals who have been loyal to us and have been supportive of us and have put us at the forefront of our industry, that they and their families receive health benefits. And I'm very proud of the decision that my brother made. My brother is a United States Marine. Served. Thank you.
Number 5.
It's number 5, I'm right. Jim served in Quang Tri Province in northern South Vietnam in 1968. He was blown off the side of an Amtrak, had 165 operable pieces of shrapnel taken from his body. They still pop to the surface of his skin. Not a pleasant time going through an airport or an MRI. My nephew, who's now taken my role as general manager, I still serve as vice president, but I serve you full-time as a Monmouth County freeholder. And I'm afforded that opportunity because I worked all my life. And I put myself and my family at a point where I was able to serve the public. That was a Freudian slip there, save the public. But I think there is some truth to that. But business is difficult because there are so many mandates that come down. We had battles with the DEP, the EPA. We have been forced to dig wells and take care of business on our environmental front, and we've met those challenges. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to you also about being a freeholder. Most people don't know what a county freeholder is. Monmouth County has a population of 662,000 residents. Now, the last census that was taken, we were given a total of 630-some thousand. Well, I don't believe that. because we continue to proliferate in population. But freeholders are elected at large, and in the original Constitution of the state of New Jersey, a freeholder was a landholder who was free of a lien. In other words, they owned property free of owing money on that property. The Board of Chosen Freeholders were those individuals who were elected to serve in the county board. Now, you had to be, as a freeholder, whether you be a landholder or an elected official, back in the original Constitution, a male. Well, thank God we've evolved, because we've had some excellent people who have been county freeholders and state legislators and even governors in this country. But we deal with a $891 million budget in Monmouth County. Now, the freeholders, it's a 5-member board, we're elected at large. So each and every one of us have to put forth an effort. And I'm telling you, my colleagues don't like me. And it's not because I'm not handsome or charming. That's a joke. Thank you for laughing. But ladies and gentlemen, I have fought the freeholders since I came in 2010, not to increase the budget, not to increase the payroll, and not to increase property taxes on the people of Monmouth County, because we are hurting. I don't need to tell you that. And since 2010, we have not raised taxes. And I announced to them yesterday that I would hold the line on the budget and I would publicly embarrass them if they raise taxes.
All right.
And as you know, I don't pull any punches. We have freeholders on that board who, in my opinion, do not belong there. And they're members of my own Republican Party. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you tonight, there is no difference between the two main parties, in the two major parties in this country, unfortunately. Because we have so many people in the Republican Party, it's just business as usual, and it's a social event.
It's got to end.
You're damn right it does. I agree with that. It must end now. Right now, keeping us from balancing our budget is a freeholder who's up for re-election, who hasn't done anything in 2 years. And finally, in his third year, his final year, he's showing up to things, and that's freeholder Gary Rich. And I will not support Gary Rich for re-election, because he is the sole vote who's holding up the sale of our health care facilities here in the county. We have a health care facility, Geraldine Thompson, right here in Wall Township, and we have another health care facility in Freehold Township. They are Medicaid funded. Wall Township, $3.6 million in the red. Freehold Township, $3.4 million. If I ran my business that way, I wouldn't be standing here tonight. And politicians should not be allowed to get away with it. So I ask you to email Lillian Berry, Gary Rich, and Serena DeMasso. Give them a call and tell them to sell the health care facilities. Now, reason being, they're Medicaid facilities and they're faltering. And some commercial realtors came in from Chicago. I asked the question, am I wrong as long as the federal health care program is functioning? Am I wrong to say that the value of these facilities are declining? And they said, no, freeholder, you're absolutely right on the money. Because they're Medicaid facilities, and Medicaid and Social Security, Medicare are being robbed to pay for Obamacare. Ladies and gentlemen, I had my own parties trying to get me out of office, and they had drafted me to run against Frank Pallone for Congress. And I told them, okay, what kind of money are you going to supply? Oh, there's no money involved. And I said, you expect me to take on an incumbent congressman that's been there 20-some years. I think he's been there since 1987 when Congressman Howard passed away.
It'll take a couple million to do that.
Well, I have about $20,000 in my campaign fund, and I'll be having some fundraisers this year and next year when I run for freeholder. But number one, I don't even live in the district, so they were setting me up. I'd be a carpetbagger immediately. And I would not be able to raise, Pallone has over $2 million in his coffers. I would not be able to raise that money. Plus, that is a gerrymandered Democrat district here in New Jersey. And everybody said, oh, some of my colleagues, oh, you'll get plenty of exposure for Monmouth County to run for re-election. And I said, most of that is in Middlesex County and Union County, most of that district.
Yep.
So I told him, nice try, you're not going to get me out of freehold that easily. And I do promise to stand strong on the budget. As I said, I believe that this country can be saved. It's going to take the effort of each and every one of us to reach out and to fight that battle, and it may appear uphill. But there are plenty of people out there that share our views. Plenty of people that get up in the morning and go to work and put something into this society. And I am honored to call myself an American. You know, we've struggled when the Governor Christie came in, when Corzine was in office. The state pension system was in horrible shape. And it was on the verge, literally, of bankruptcy. And my own girlfriend, who had served as the chief financial officer in the borough of Little Silver for 31 years, and she talked about that oftentimes, even before Governor Christie came in, that it was not going to be able to hold its line. And by making those changes, it's in better shape, but it's still not safe. And we need to have less employees. As Dan mentioned, I brought forth in 2010 23 points to reduce our budget. And the main idea was job consolidation. Take a job and consolidate it and bring one person in to take care of that job. No longer, not my job. I don't want to hear that from employees. And that's not being a hard-nosed person. That's being a person of reality, a person of pragmatism. And rather than call myself a conservative, people will ask me, and I say, I believe that I am a pragmatic. And a pragmatic being realistic. You don't spend more than what you earn. That's the bottom line. We don't do it in our homes. We don't do it in our businesses. And we shouldn't do it with your money in government. But Len, after 31 years of service with Obamacare, has now lost her health benefits. And she raised holy hell with the borough and managed to get the health benefits back that were taken away because she had a contract. She was intelligent enough to draw a contract. And they now have to pay for her health benefits, although the insurance company dropped the plan. So she had to go out and get another plan, which she's being reimbursed for. But it is a nightmare what's going on. People can't afford to live in the state of New Jersey. Entrepreneurialism has shrunk. There aren't people starting businesses any longer. And that's frightening. Because where do they think, as my dad always said, where do these school superintendents think the money comes from? It comes from the private sector. And private sector, small business is where the jobs are today. And that commitment is something that I think we all need to realize and to pound home when we're out there campaigning for candidates who are supportive. Now, I said that I wasn't going to support Gary Rich for re-election. I'm supporting former Howell Mayor Bob Walsh. Bob will make those tough decisions, no doubt about it. Bob's not in it to be on Facebook or Twitter, like so many politicians are. So I do support Bob in getting those necessary decisions made. And I know that he's somebody we can trust. And the interesting thing is, Bob called me up a couple of days ago, and I just had a root canal, so if I sound like I'm speaking Spanish, I'm actually not. But I am a little numb. Bob had called me up, and he said, you know, it's amazing, Freeholder Damaso called me last night and asked me not to run this year against Rich, but to run against John Curley the following year. And he said, I think that is deplorable. And what you've been talking about, the Monmouth County Republican Party, actually hits home with that message in itself. But ladies and gentlemen, I open the floor up to any questions you may have to me. I am liaison to Human Services, Social Services. I previously had Public Works and Engineering. I am liaison to Brookdale Community College, and as Dan said, I was responsible for uncovering some shady activities, and I was responsible for putting the president of Brookdale in jail. I went to the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office and the Federal Bureau of Investigation with the information that I had, and the case grew from there. And he could have gone away for a lot longer than he did, but they got him to plead out on 3 or 4 charges, and he lost his pension and his job. So there is no room for corruption, and that's something I promised that I would do, was go after corruption, and it upsets people. I went after the truck bid situation in Monmouth County. We cleaned that up, and I also oversee the SCAT program. That's a Monmouth County Department of Transportation. Today that program is crime-free, it is civil suit-free, and for the first time in the history, under the direction of the new director there, Kathy Ladonna, who's a dear friend of mine, that program is buying its own buses and has set up a business plan which the state, every county in the state is extremely interested in. So we are making progress in becoming a greater business model in Monmouth County. But just briefly, some points within my 23 was to outsource the Youth Detention Center, which you've heard me speak about previously. That was costing you as taxpayers $18,500 per month per detainee. And that was mandated by state statute. So you had to have it by state law. But I reached a deal with Middlesex County. We now have a program that's solid, again mandated by the state, but we're paying $9,400 per month per detainee. It's cut in half. Folks, when I served as director of the Monmouth County Board of Freeholders in 2012, I outsourced the bridge tenders in the county. And with the stroke of the pen, that saved you immediately, within that moment, $600,000. We reached an agreement with a private sector company. And I believe outsourcing, it's what helped save my business. Outsourcing is the way to go. Government doesn't do much very well.
That's for sure.
We also outsource the medical examiner's office. We have a cooperative county agreement with Middlesex. It's working extremely well. We had 3 physicians that were making over $250,000 a year. They're no longer there. We have that service now, and again, it's working exceptionally well. We're generating revenue with our police academy. That was ready to be closed just 2 years ago because townships, states, boroughs were not hiring police officers, obviously, with the financial problems. So moving ahead in so many areas, our fire academy, which I'm liaison to, and I'm very proud to go and give the graduation address to these youngsters. Because without volunteerism, which I call the fabric of our society, none of us would be able to afford to live here. And these are people that get up in the middle of the night, whether they are on a fire truck or an ambulance, and they protect us. But they have to be protected too with the finest training, and we do that through the Fire Academy and the Fire Marshal's Office. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to open it up. I don't want to talk too long. I think I probably have talked too long already. But feel free if anyone has any questions. Dan.
I have a question. I wouldn't ask you to speak poorly about any other politicians.
Why not?
But I would like to know who you would recommend as another conservative, because we don't know. You're on the inside. We just, all we can do is read the papers. So who else would you recommend as a good conservative in the state? Anybody?
That's a hard question, because a lot of people become very compromised when they get into office, and it becomes a real social event. Obviously a true conservative has been Steve Lonigan. I don't know whether Lonigan is electable, and that's the problem. To get elected, people have to center themselves up. What do they say in Republican presidential primaries? That the presidential nominee or the candidates running for that nomination have to center themselves.
I know, it's a chess game.
Yeah, I miss the days of Ronald Reagan. I miss the days of Barry Goldwater. And I thought Goldwater was a true American hero from the Southwest. He worked very hard and was, just destroyed in the election in 1964. And, his saying was, and Phyllis Schlafly wrote a great book, "In your heart, you know he's right." And what did we get? We got the Great Society programs of Lyndon Baines Johnson.
Yeah, solved a lot of problems.
And that has really pulled us down. I will give Governor Christie, when he first came in, the efforts that he put forth in changing that state pension system, in dealing with the unions in the state, and we deal with the unions even in the county, and we have been able to hold them to 2% per year, even though their health insurance has gone up. And I know it's very difficult for some of them who are not making much money at all. And there are some very, very dedicated employees. But there are also a lot of people that are just sitting on their duff. I think someone who, my brother is a gun enthusiast. He has a rather large gun collection. As I said, a former Marine. He goes to the gun club every weekend, and Jim's a total gentleman. And I know that he is supportive of Caroline Casagrande on the Republican ticket because of her position with gun control.
So she's pro Second Amendment.
Yeah.
How about you?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I had to ask.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm sorry, we had...
When you're done, I have...
Janet, yes.
Yes.
Go ahead.
2 items. You say you have Human Services?
Human Services,
Okay.
correct.
What's the financial report on the illegals drawing from Monmouth County? And on the other hand, what is the support of Monmouth County for our veterans and their families?
I am liaison to Veterans Affairs and Senior Affairs, and our Veterans Office is now dealing with several thousand of our veterans in Monmouth County in helping them through the VA, the regiment of the VA. And they're doing a fabulous job. Mike Wayne, he's a retired military colonel. The previous director under the Democrats was a fellow who had been a priest. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but I think the necessity to have that military background is there. Mike does a fabulous job for us. He's got a staff that's so well trained. Sue Molione, who is there, and they have brought back millions of dollars for our veterans, who could not get through the system without their help. Yes, Johnny, you can just...
To follow up on that, because I've often wondered about the families and how can volunteers help the families while their husband or whoever is overseas. So, and these organizations that bring up these, that they're collecting clothes and they're going to sell a lot. They're for rags. But But how can we, and is the word going out, how we, the public, can help the vets and their families? By donations or volunteer or, you know?
Well, what I'll do, I'll give you my card, and I'm going to have you talk to Mike Ruane directly.
Okay.
And Mike can give you some really good ideas that he has put forth and things that he's working on presently.
Would he be willing to become a guest speaker here? We actually have tonight, we collected for the troops. We're always looking to...
I can ask him. I don't think he would have any problem. But I know that, political organizations and groups, it's very difficult to ask a county employee. Okay. But Mike is conservative, believe me. Mike is
Tell him
conservative.
we're not scary.
And don't forget to address the illegals.
What's that?
Right?
Tell him we're not scary.
I will. I'll tell him that. Yeah, the illegal situation is very difficult. We have right now, I have the food stamp program, and I have right now 18,000 people collecting food stamps. In the 18,000 cases, I say 18,000 people, 18,000 cases. So that's far more than 18,000 because that includes husbands, wives, children, grandparents, aunts and uncles, and the like.
Is that Monmouth County?
That's in Monmouth County alone. Now that's been the influx, obviously, of immigrants coming in. I'm a strong believer that in whatever type of immigration reform is ever pushed in Washington, we've got to shut down the borders. I mean, that's the bottom line. And I firmly support that. And, any attempt to do anything without shutting the borders down is futile. It's disastrous. It will not work. And, we can blame the great and vivacious Bill Clinton for his NAFTA program and opening up those borders and just letting us flood. And those of us, as I said, go to work every day, are paying the freight. And it's extremely upsetting. Now, there are folks out there, and when I've spoken with regard to food stamps, I put together the largest public food drive in the history of Monmouth County. That was last year, and we did it again this year, and we'll do it again in 2014. And I get all the public buildings, and that does come with the support of the other freeholders, open up all the public buildings for distribution of food. And we've been able to bring 23,000 pounds each time we go out of food. And that's extremely important because that food bank, when people fall through the cracks in the federal program, there's no place to go. But the food bank is something that we can refer people to so they're not starving. Hey folks, it's no longer somebody in another town or somebody on the other side of town. I'm sorry, I keep moving on you. Or somebody on the other side of town. A lot of times, I have people that have called up and said, Mr. Curley, freeholder John, my husband and I always gave to the food bank and we need it now, and they're in tears. And it's a nightmare. And you know what? If Mr. Obama would finally wake up, but he never will, and if the Congress of the United States would wake up, but they never will, and realize you have to have real jobs. You can't go out and raise the minimum wage and say problem solved. It doesn't work. You have to have real jobs. And that's something I have to give Dr. Murphy over at Brookdale Community College. She is reaching out for more job training programs. And it's probably less liberal arts, and liberal arts is wonderful, but people need jobs. They need to be able to take care of themselves. And I'm not talking about immigrants. I'm talking about people who have been in this country for generations. Yes, I think somebody had their hand up over here.
I wanted to take you back to the illegal immigration. And one requirement that there should be, if there is ever a change in the law on immigration, our immigration law should be exactly the same or better than the one that Mexico has that determines whether Americans go to Mexico.
Yep, absolutely.
Every American citizen is as valuable as any Mexican.
And you know, it should be the same way when it comes to tariffs. We get charged when we export, and then we get hit when things come back to us. We end up paying all those charges. And it's a sad state of affairs.
How about somebody trying to make English the official language?
The hell with that. I don't agree with that whatsoever. My family is predominantly Irish. They came over in 18-something. I'm actually fourth generation. My parents had me very late. My dad, if he were alive today, would be 108. My mother would be 107, and I'm only 60. So I'm lucky that I'm just an insulin-dependent diabetic and I have a few hairs on my head. Because when parents that old have children, but they got married late and had...
But you'd be for English only.
English only, that's it, because I hate sitting there waiting. Press 1 for Spanish, 2 for English.
It keeps the country divided.
It does keep the country divided. It keeps the country confused, and it costs a lot of money. Absolutely.
Got a question.
Yes, sir.
Hold it down. Right here.
You know, I can't see you very well with the lights, so you have to excuse me.
The youth detention centers that you were talking about before,
That's better.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. The youth detention center.
Yeah. Just curious, who exactly is that being outsourced to, and the other departments that you were talking about?
Well, it's technically not an outsourced situation. It's a cooperative agreement with another county. So it's an inter-county, as you have interlocal agreements with municipalities, this is an inter-county agreement. And it's worked extremely well. We would have had to put in our facility in Freehold Township on Dutch Lane Road between $8 and $10 million to bring it up to code. And it literally looked and smelled like a movie set on a spaghetti western with Clint Eastwood. And it was a mess. And they were not, things were not geared toward rehabilitation. The program, Somerset County and Middlesex County built together jointly in an agreement, inter-county agreement, a brand new facility, which we didn't have to do, we didn't want to do, because it's a lot of money. And we were able to we were able to get enough beds up there so our youth, we average in the 20s usually. The number is approximately 20 to 25 on average that we have in that youth detention center at one time. So it's a cooperative agreement between levels of government. We can't solve it just alone with shared services, because you end up passing that piece of the pie on to, you might take it out of municipal government, but you put the taxation onto the county and or the state. And that's no good. We need to outsource wherever we possibly can. And again, we have since 2010 shrunk Monmouth County government by 600 people. So when I came in, we had 3,600, and we're down now to about 2,998 full and part-time employees. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, more than a question, I have several thoughts on things that you just said. The last one being, I think we need to define what outsourcing means. I see that we no longer, as taxpayers, can afford to pay for so many employees, and I don't think there's any problem if freeholders and all levels of government are responsible to ensure that our buildings get educated, that there are prisons, etc. But I don't think they have to be employees of the government and taking not just salaries out of us, but we pay for them forever in the form of pension. The freeholders could just have an oversight of who gets it and back. I definitely agree. It should be English only. And you and I have wondered that our ancestors were, quote, English speaking, but here in America we don't speak English even. We speak American. And I said it's a few thoughts. I'd also like to say about the immigration. I can remember back around the 70s, I think, I came from New York City. There's 5 boroughs. And there was a significant number of people who entered the country illegally that were from Ireland. They were not given across the board a pass. for citizens.
That's right.
There was a lottery, the Morrison lottery, I believe it was known as. And I think we can afford, and across the board, branding of national citizenship. I think it has to be done.
Well, you know, I always believe, I know there was a Polish woman that spoke to me one day, and she was going through citizenship, and she was very upset because there was nothing that was being done to expedite her. It was, she said, it was for all of the Latino immigrants, Mexican immigrants. But real quick to touch on that, I know folks want to move on. Outsourcing, the greatest expense you have is to hire a person to do a job. You pay that salary, you pay the benefits, the health benefits, which are exorbitant, and those fixed costs just go up and up and up. And whenever you're dealing with a business, you control that business, the budget of that business, by controlling your fixed costs. And by controlling your fixed costs, that's the number of employees you have. You then have long-term retirement benefits. So that can bury you for one employee into over $1 million, if not more. But when you outsource something, you are giving the private sector the opportunity to generate jobs and to do the job, and they're going to do the job for the most part properly because they're dependent on doing it properly to get paid. You know, when we got up in the morning with the automobile truck business, it was to sell cars, to service cars, and to sell parts. And that's where our mindset is.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan, very much. Dan, I just want to say something. Whenever I speak, I ask you to please remember our troops who are serving us. They're protecting our freedoms and liberties, and God bless them very much. And I also want to tell you, I have some pens I want to hand out to everybody. They're the official John P. Curley pen. And they're actually Bics, so they'll work. I usually give them a 10-minute warranty. But I also want to tell you that this is the greatest nation on the face of the earth, as you know. And that's why we're here tonight, to espouse our views and hope that we can go out and create new disciples who will go out and spread that message. Because this nation is waning. It's taking on a lot of water. But you know what? We'll move ahead and we will survive with our Constitution and with all of your support. I thank you very much. God bless America.
Amen.
Actually, Freeholder Curley, we will survive with leaders like you. Maybe you're the future Ronald Reagan. God works in his ways. Hey, he was 71 when he became president. Thank you, Freeholder. Thank you very much. You know, thank you, Dan. Dan brought Freeholder Curley back. This is Freeholder's second time speaking here. And I remember the first time he made a presence, and he didn't fail us this time. So thank you, Mr. Curley. Okay, we're going to do some house cleaning. We're going to pass along the bucket. But while we're passing along that bucket, thank you, Joan. We have a survey that we're asking everybody to take tonight. And this survey is relevant. We're going to select the 5 people that we think would best represent us as president in 2016. So hopefully everybody got a form. Put your name up on top. We're going to collect this tonight.
You don't need your name.
You don't want a name? Okay, no names.
Anonymous.
Okay, anonymous. But we're going to collect this tonight, so please fill this out, and we'll get this in. Also, I just want to let everybody know, Freeholder Curley mentioned him earlier. Steve Lonergan is running for Congress. Excuse me. Steve Lonergan is running for Congress. He's going to hopefully replace John Runyon. He's going to be at Capone's, which is down in Toms River. They make the best eggplant parm, by the way. At 6:30 on February 27th. So if you can't be there, let's support Steve. I'm sorry, Jeff? It's February 27th, 6:30 at Capone's. It's a Italian restaurant on Washington Street. Okay? As I noted earlier, we have a lot of new people tonight, which is really awesome. But we also have some people who have decided to come back, which is also awesome. So Jerry, will you come on up for me for us, please? Jerry?
Hey, Jerry! All right!
You know, when I first came here, I came here with Tony and Carolyn Spinola, and there were regulars here every month. Jerry was one of them. Jerry's beautiful face has been missing for a while now. When she came back tonight, I was very happy to see her. So Jerry, tell us what happened.
Well, what happened is that after I called him the piece of shit got reelected, I was so disgusted because I worked so hard to convince people not to vote for him. I did a 14-segment, 2-month research on Obama. And I can't believe that all the people that I sent it to would vote for him. And I just got upset when he got elected, and I just decided I'm working my fingers to the bone and nothing is happening, and I just got upset. And what brought me back tonight is a friend gave me the name of someone in Afghanistan who needs supplies from us. They do not get lunch anymore in Afghanistan. They have cut out lunch. They get breakfast, they get dinner, and that's it. They have to buy lunch on their own, and they need supplies so bad. So I emailed Dan, and I gave him the name of this person, and then he emailed me back and said, would you take charge of sending out those boxes now? And that's why I'm here. So I'm glad to be back. I really am. We need to get rid of this guy. We need to get rid of a lot of politicians. We need more people like the gentleman that just spoke to us. Well, anyway, that's it.
Don't leave. Jerry, how many people here bought their donations? So, here's the lady you're going to meet tonight, and I bought tons of Nutella. I left my house early tonight. I'm going to get it to you. Okay. So, you heard about Janet, our news member, who gave that generous donation.
Yes.
Okay.
And you know, it's funny how people, excuse me, I called my daughter-in-law to ask her if she would have her girls and their classes write letters that we could put into these boxes for the military. And she said to me, can we raise money? They're in the Girl Scouts, there are all kinds of things to be a wonderful cause for them to do something good. And she's just ready, willing, and able to do whatever she can to help. And as this lady said, all you have to do is reach out to people. Yeah, there are a lot of good people.
You come back.
All right.
And that's the American spirit, folks. And we're not going to give up, ever. And, you know, it's funny. I had a conversation with, I think the guy's pretty intelligent. I mean, when he said, well, how's business? I said, well, you know, the economy's pretty bad. No, it's not. It's actually pretty good. Really? For whom? Oh, it's doing rather well. I said, actually, no, it's not. He said, well, you can't blame this on Obama. I said, very politely, I said, excuse me, but do you know about Obamacare? Well, my friend has great insurance. Really? From Obamacare? I can name so many people who have lost their insurance. But my point of this conversation, he couldn't grasp it. He really thinks the world is going on a beautiful journey. When I said to him, how would you like it if the government, he's in computers, how would you like it if the government regulated and controlled your industry and took total control? Here was his response. But he couldn't understand why it's not a good thing that the government took over the insurance industry, which really, how many people do you know complained about their insurance? So, I mean, that's what we're dealing with, Jerry. People who, I don't understand it. They're just not grasping it. It
hasn't hit them yet.
It hasn't hit them yet.
When it does hit them, they're going to be the loudest ones screaming.
Right, yeah. But you got to stay the course, keep educating, keep trying to get through to them, and I don't know. Pray.
Can't fix stupid.
So talking about praying, yeah, you can't fix stupid. I invited a group. I met a very beautiful family at an event. The son had brain cancer. He still carries the scar, and he has some challenges. But he wanted to work. He's 20 years old and he wanted to work. Nobody would hire him. The father is from Cuba. His family legally came to America, became citizens, and he and I talked for about 15 minutes. What's going on, how disappointed he is. He sees it going the same way as Cuba went. But then his wife came up and she started speaking and she told me about his son's problems, and she looked at her son and she said, you know what, we're going to start our own business. Again, the American spirit. So this mom and this son started a company called Halo Hats. And if you go into this, I invited them to this meeting. They will be coming. They couldn't make it this meeting. But what they do is they sell hats for people who are going through chemo. By the way, I could have used that 16 years ago. I was bald as a cucumber. Why cucumbers are bald, I don't know, but they were. Anyway, it's HaloHats.com. If you go on your birthday, you'll get a free hat. But let's support these type of groups, these type of operations. These people who said, you know what, I'm not going to wait for it. I'm going to do it myself. So it's HaloHats.com. Even introduce yourself, say you heard about them through the East Jersey Tea Party. They will be coming, and those are the type of people we want. People who refuse to say no, who will not be kept down, and who are the American spirit that we keep hearing about, we keep saying we know is out there. Okay. How do we do with the collection? Who's got the money? Where? Show me the money.
Right there.
Okay. Dan, you want to take it for me?
I'll take it.
Okay. And did we collect a survey? Did anybody see a name pop out for them?
Yes.
Who?
Carson.
Carson. Who else? Walker. That was my pick. Anybody else?
My writing would have been Trey Gowdy.
Trey Gowdy. Why?
He's not on there. He was a full writer.
Oh.
Trey Gowdy.
Walker. Anybody else?
Jeb Bush.
Did I hear Jeb Bush? Actually, my pick is still Walker West, Alan West. I want that military guy in there. Yes.
How's Lisa Wright?
I don't think she was on there. Oh, she is on there. Okay. All right. Everybody filled them out. We're going to give them over to Joan. We're doing really well on time. If anybody wants to come up here, come on up, Bill. If anybody has something they want to espouse, tonight's the night to do it. Bill? Hello, Bill.
Thanks, Joellen. Last month we spoke a little bit about pride of the people who come to these meetings, and great presentation by Freeholder Curley. That was phenomenal. I just wanted to point out, and we talked a little bit about blogging and information and where we get it, where we don't get it, our reading list. We had some great books discussed tonight. Just recently, on one of my blogs, we were talking about pure information. WikiLeaks. Anybody here WikiLeaks? Wiki dictionary? Wikipedia. Excuse me, and the leaks, the wiki everything. Recently, WikiLeaks has come under a lot of attack. I mean, there's so many people that are hitting it from so many directions. Feminists go in and then masculine terms are changed into feminist terms. It's all over the map. It's just everywhere. My point being that I just want to relate it to the Bridgegate thing with Chris Christie that's going on right now. If you Wikipedia Bridgegate tomorrow, you'll see about 180 resources at the bottom of the list. I mean, there's page after page after page of information of all the different views on what's going on, basically in the last month, even though Bridgegate happened in September, I think. But there's about 180 articles that have been written, almost all of them in the last month. So then if you Wikipedia Benghazi. No, there's more. There's about 280. But this has been going on for a year and a half, not a month. So it's just something that you can see, a little insidious twisting of information. But
how about Menendez? He's under indictment again.
Menendez, we can bring him up. We can talk all night about Menendez.
But there's no information about him.
It is true, because on my blogs I covered Menendez and I tried to find information. My point being, it's insidious. You'll see the New York Times a couple of weeks came out about a Christie article and a Benghazi article. And what they do is they just put out all this information out there, and then it finds its way to these websites like an equalization. So they'll say red and you'll say green, and they'll say purple, but it's all colors are equal. And it's so insidious if you read it day in and day out. Some of the experts that are on these blogs really go into it in depth. And they show you the groups that are funded from Soros, and Warren Buffett has people. It's amazing. The pipeline, for instance. Warren Buffett owns all the railroad cars that are bringing all the oil through the northern part of the country, and through towns of 40,000 that might be 20,000 tomorrow, instead of putting the pipeline in. But all I'm saying is, when you look for information, you have to be so careful tonight, because everything is equalized, homogenized. And I just want to bring you back to a book in 1984, which I reference all the time, Brave New World in 1984. And I was just reading 1984 recently again. And we've all heard of doublespeak and newspeak, and these terms. And basically the doublespeak is what's going on right now with Bridgegate. We all have to admit this. Whether it was a few cones moved or not, somebody, whatever. Compared to Benghazi, this is like an eyelash versus a whole body.
Obama saying IRS was nothing.
And, I mean, all of these issues, 1984, if you delve into some of the different types of vocabulary that was developed, vocabulary A, vocabulary B, vocabulary C, industrial, scientific, they were trying to brainwash people over long-term periods of time, and codified words and double-speak words, two words together, which would... It is so insidious when you read the WikiLeaks, the Wikipedia. Be very careful what you read, what you pass on. 1984, they projected, believe it or not, in the first and second decades of this century, not last century. The book was written in the 30s, 30s. English socialism. This century is when they projected 2010, 2020, it would really start to take effect. And you can really see it now with the internet. And they're projecting 2050 as like the ultimate takeover of socialism. We're probably ahead of that curve. But sorry to bore you with some of this stuff, but it's interesting to me, and just be careful on your...
Bill, you and Steve are always very welcomed up here. Yes, thank you, Bill. Next. Again, it's your forum, so whoever wants something to say has something to say. Oh, we got a team here. We got a team here. We're a team.
Joan and I kind of teamed up on this. There was an article in her local throwaway paper about signing up for the Medicare. And she really didn't have the time to, you know, to look up because she's going to school, taking exams and things like that. So what she did, she asked me to take a look at the article, see if I could help her out. I'm going to let her tell you, there was a little bit of, she had a little trouble getting it published, but this is sort of a combination deal. So you can tell them what happened.
Our local papers, the front page told us how wonderful Obamacare was and how wonderful it's going to be for everyone who's concerned. And it really disturbed me to see friends, family losing their insurance. And actually, I have a doctor who is opting out of the insurance, not completely, but he's going to a service called MD-VIP. We now, as a family, we have to pay $3,300 a year to keep our doctor, plus our insurance. So I was very disturbed about this, and I called my friend here, John, and I asked him if he would help compose a letter, because I didn't have the time. So he was nice enough to do that. It took me a long time, it must have been a month, to get this published, back and forth, emailing the editor, her not responding to me, her calling me emailing her, and then, lo and behold, Bob Bailey says, I didn't know you were published. So the letter is January 23rd that it went into the paper, our response. And in John's words,
What paper?
this was the Examiner paper. It's our local paper. I live in Millstone. It's a local paper there. And it went into, I believe, 10 local papers. And I'm just going to read what the response was. It was more info needed about Enroll America. This letter is in response to the recent Greater Media Newspaper's article, Navigating Healthcare Reform. Enroll America, the organization about whom the article is written, is a nonprofit whose mission is to maximize the number of uninsured Americans who enroll in the health care coverage made available by the Affordable Health Care Act. Although this is a noble mission statement, a recent Fox News report notes that the supposed nonpartisan Enroll America is under fire as a result of videos by conservative groups. Project Vegetarius that show an employee engaged in partisan politics in violation of its federal tax-exempt status and its connections with Organizing for America. The videos have led to the question about the validity of the navigators who help Americans sign up for the Patient Protection and Affordability Act. I wonder if the navigators and the certified application coordinators are warning New Jersey residents of the personal security risks involved in the enrollment process. On November 13, 2013, Cause of Action, a nonprofit accountability group, in a letter to the Texas Attorney General, requested an evaluation of Enroll America and Battleground Texas, a Fed 527 Political Action Committee for the violation of the IRS code and Texas law. Although New Jerseyans who had no health care insurance may eventually benefit from the service of a group like Enroll America, I am concerned about the more than 500,000 state residents who were assured that if they liked their health care insurance and their doctor, they would keep them, and are now becoming aware that this is not true. Perhaps greater media newspapers will do more investigating of Enroll America.
What happened was I didn't know where to start with that, so I had to go online. It took me about 2 or 3 days just looking up who they were, and then I came across those things from Fox News and the other places that were had filed complaints. And if you notice now, they violated IRS, and I always, turn this back to the fair tax. All right, with the fair tax, there would be no worry about those, the IRS or any of the Tea Parties having to do 501c4s because there would be no income tax. Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening.
Again, another great example of what we can accomplish. Remember last month I told you about my challenge with my newspaper and getting a letter protesting the AARP and their propaganda. They did publish it. They did add 2 words, in my 3 words, in my opinion. I don't want to do it Joe Biden. But that was it. But they did publish it. And when they published it, that Saturday I got a phone call. Didn't recognize the number. Hello, Joellen? Yes. I'm reading your letter and I'm yelling, yes, 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 I have something to show my mother-in-law. I've been telling her to rip up your AARP card. Now I have something to give to her. Join AMAC. So those letters work. You don't know who you're educating. But somebody's reading that and thinking, you know what? There's another side to this story. So write those letters, make the phone calls. I continue to say this, educate as much as you can because that's the best we can do right now. I know, Jerry, I know you felt disillusioned. Really, I'm so glad you're back. It's going to be a battle for the rest of our lives, and we got to gear up. And you being here, you give others support. And by the way, when I got that email, you know, we have to be careful. We do. We have to be careful because we hear so many things. The first thing I did when I got your letter, I called Matt, who teaches us every Monday, who's a retired colonel. And he said, yeah, Joellen, that's true. And he said, they're not only not getting lunch, they're not getting any hot food anymore. So he verified it and expanded on what you told us. So please, if you can, every time you think of it, keep those troops in your prayers. And by the way, go see Lone Survivor. Rob, you want to come on up? Yeah, come on up, buddy. And has anybody heard from Don? Is he okay? I'm going to have to give him a call. You could lead us in one language. We're going to sing God Bless America.
Everyone knows that I started First Amendment TV. I switched it from a pay-per-view network to a free network. So if you want to subscribe to First Amendment TV, it's 1stamendment.tv, obvious www. But I just want to let you know, earlier today I went to the announcement that Steve Lonigan was running for office. I just finished loading that up onto YouTube, so if anyone is interested in seeing it, it's about a 45-minute long video. Just type in onto YouTube, Lonigan 2014, and you will see the video, and you'll see it's under First Amendment TV. Also, I spoke to Jim Curley, and hopefully I can get him to come on the network and talk more about a lot of the issues that he doesn't have time to talk about, and we can do it on First Amendment TV. Also have Ocean County Citizens for Freedom, their meetings on the network and on the website. Morristown Tea Party. If you want to see a really wild Tea Party meeting that night when I went to the film it, go there. You'll see it on First Amendment TV. It's in 3 segments. It was quite interesting. There were 2 Republican congressmen running for office, and someone said to them they want term limits, and he came around and said that if there was term limits, they wouldn't have a job anymore. So the audience started heckling and laughing. It was really quite an interesting meeting that I went to. The crowd was getting quite hostile at them. And if you want to enjoy a good view, you'll like that also. So just go to First Amendment, 1ST Amendment. If you need the address, I have cards for everyone. And if it comes up that it's asking for your credit card, just ignore it. That'll be taken down the next day or 2. Just sign up with your email address and create your own PIN password, and you'll be able to get into the site. So this is what First Amendment's about. Covering things that you can't get to or can't see. I will be covering it. That's that.
Thank you, Robert, because that is an endeavor that we need. We need someone who's going to give us the truth out there. So thank you. Thank you.
Let's sing it.
Wait, we got one more who wants to.
Okay, come on.
We have another Utes with us, so come on, Bill. He's a repeat here.
Thanks. I just wanted to emphasize the importance of getting signatures for Steve Lonigan on the ballot. I mean, the official thing that we tell you is he needs 1,000 signatures to get on the ballot, and that's all he needs. That's not the case. 200.
Just 200.
Whatever the signatures are being.
200.
He needs way beyond 300 in reality. The more signatures you get for him on the ballot, the more pressure it is on us to endorse him as an organization. So I know Steve Lonigan's the favorite in this group, in this organization, that's why I'm saying that. I believe he's the best choice because I think he can unite these two organizations. And we're fighting a battle right now against the Democratic Party while fighting each other, which is not a solution. And I mean,
Has to be from this district, right?
3rd district. Has to be from, you have to live in the 3rd district. If you live in the 4th district, the signature is negated.
But if you're a Democrat, you can.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Keep coming, keep bringing some more people. Okay. All right, guys. Let's do it. Only in English, please. No Polish, no.
Okay.
Okay.
God bless America.
God bless America, everybody.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans, wipe the foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Thank you all. God bless you. Have a good month. Come back and bring somebody new.
Joellen, what about the tickets?
Oh, wait a minute. We haven't, wait, everybody. We have a great book. Remember our guest last month who talked about his book, The New Founder? Where are the tickets? Jimmy, can you pull a ticket and read it?
78377.
78277?
78377.
Who's the winner? 278-277, Jim?
Whoever has that ticket.
278-377.
377. Who's got to read this?
No. Who won? Who's the winner? Who?
Bob.
Bob? Oh, great. All right, Bob. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Oh, by the way.